Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm going to be your host, the Irrelevant Nerd, and today we're going to be discussing a little bit of Star Wars. Was Emperor Palpatine the best or worst Sith? After being on a bit of Star Wars kick lately, I've been thinking a lot about the dark side and the Sith, in particular Darth Sidious, aka Emperor Palpatine. He gets a lot of credit for being the one who enacts Order 66 and ruling over the galaxy, but was he truly the best? Let's take a look. So first, we need to establish what actually makes a Sith great. Is it raw force power? Is it longevity, political influence, lightsaber skills, or is it a loyalty to the Sith philosophy, the rule of two, the endless pursuit of power and mastery of the dark side of the Force? I personally would argue it's the latter. The rule of two is ultimately what saved the Sith as a whole and is what allowed Palpatine to rise to power. So that's kind of my baseline. So now we'll take a look at Palpatine and we'll start with the argument for. Mainly, he did what thousands of years of Sith could not do. He destroyed the Jedi Order, mostly. There are a few Order 66 survivors, but he did take out the vast majority of them and became the Emperor of the Galaxy, which was ultimately always the goal of the Sith. So, in that regard, he really is the fruition of those plans. And beyond that, he is truly powerful in the Force. His Force lightning is unparalleled and can turn beings into ash if he focuses enough power on them. And he manages to break into the world between worlds using Sith sorcery, and his feats in Legends are even crazier. He mind wipes an entire planet. He moves, I believe it's a Star Destroyer with the Force. He creates Force storms in space, and the list really just kind of goes on. And he was incredible with a lightsaber as well. He mastered all 7 forms of lightsaber combat, and he managed to defeat Yoda, the head of the Jedi Order. He defeated Darth Maul, truly an elite lightsaber duelist, and Darth Maul's brother, Savage Opress, at the same time. He took both of them on at the same time and beat them easily, as well as killing the several Jedi who tried to arrest him. Obviously Mace Windu excluded, but he only allowed Windu to best him to further his manipulation of Anakin Skywalker, which he was also successful in doing. He managed to turn the Jedi's chosen one against them. He is just very clearly a master manipulator, and his long-term planning and strategy is just unmatched. He really did so many things so well and is so powerful. But now, let's take a look at the flip side and make an argument against him being the greatest. First, to sort of counter one of the last points I made for him, I do think that Plagueis deserves a lot of the credit for setting the galaxy up in a way for the dominoes to ultimately fall the way they needed to fall for Palpatine to move into power. And then speaking of Plagueis, the way that Palpatine gets rid of his master so very clearly violates the rule of two, because you are supposed to directly challenge them at the height of their power to prove that you're the stronger Sith and deserve to carry on that lineage. But he kills Plagueis in his sleep, like just force lightnings him to death while he is sleeping, and had also had other assassination attempts against his master before that had happened. And it's just a very cowardly way to go about it, and just, like I said, blatantly violates the rule of two. And like, not even just with that, that's not the only thing he does to violate the rule of two. Like, he had Darth Maul while he was still apprenticed to Darth Plagueis, and then he had the Inquisitors when he had Darth Vader as his own apprentice. And they're not technically Sith, but still, the rule of two wants the dark side focused through only the most powerful two. Like, no more, no less. And he violates it further still, as Sidious's plans are to ultimately be immortal and rule for eternity. He prioritized himself and power over the Sith legacy, and like, a true Lord of the Sith is supposed to pass on their knowledge and their strength, and he hoarded both. And he also kept an apprentice around that he knew could never challenge him. Anakin lost an immense amount of power when he lost to Obi-Wan on Mustafar, and the Emperor personally also had Vader's suit made to be ultra receptive to electricity, so his Force lightning could just fry him. And so in no way does that kind of hold true to the spirit of the rule of two, and his arrogance and failure to just adhere to this simple principle that had governed the Sith for 1,000 years ultimately destroyed the Sith Order when Vader returned to the light and killed him. Like, even if you consider all of the sequel stuff with him being revived, he's still ultimately destroyed with no plans. And there are other dark side users, like Snoke and Kylo Ren are presented in The Force Awakens. Snoke is ultimately a clone, but him and Kylo Ren are not Sith. Like, they do not carry the title of Darth. Snoke is called the Supreme Leader, but that's just a head of the First Order type of thing, because that's what they call Kylo Ren when he's at the front, but they are just not Sith. So he ultimately, permanently destroys them. And now they could always create stories in the future to where others will pick up the mantle, and this did happen in the Legends universe, but it's such again, they call themselves Darth, but they're not true Sith lineage, I guess, to at least the Darth Bane era of the Sith. But I've been thinking about it a lot, and so there is a lot for, there's a lot against, and so really, is he the best or the worst? And honestly, it's probably a bit of both, but for my personal preference and how I view the Sith, I lean more towards the worst. He reached the peak of Sith power, but ultimately his obsession with ruling forever just ended the Sith Order. And all of that power and skill with a lightsaber for nothing. And I do love the character, don't get me wrong, but when you're judging what makes a great Sith, I don't think he really measures up. And just the more that I've thought about it, the more this is kind of solidified in my mind that he's really just not that guy for the Sith. And because he did kind of culminate at the end of this 1,000 years, it is kind of a right place, right time type of scenario as well. And also having a master like Plagueis who is able to rapidly advance the Sith cause. But of course, that is just my take. I want to know what you think down below in the comments. Is Darth Sidious the best or the worst? Is he somewhere in the middle? Do you think I'm judging him too harshly? Am I holding too true to just Bane's version of the Sith? Let me know. I will have some more videos up very soon, and until then, may the Force be with you.